Hello everyone, and welcome to my next video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. And in this one, we're going to be taking on the Power of Tranquility Part 14 Level 200 Lufenia quest as part of 8's Lost Chapter. And for this one, I'm bringing along a team of Noctis, Vivi, and WoL, with a Noctis friend and an Odin summon. So in my last video in the Shinryu Lufenia, I said that I was going to be using Vivi, and I absolutely do intend to be using Vivi in this Lufenia. I did not, however, say that I was not going to use Noctis, and what better team can you have than to use the both of them together? Now, in all fairness, I do know that this team does lack a substantial bit of attack aura because we're relying entirely on WoL to provide the auras, which is only 65% worth of attack, assuming he's fully character boarded. But we do have Odin there to patch it up, so it's actually kind of 95%. And Vivi hits like a goddamn truck even without any auras, even in Lufenia. At least in these early Lufenias, the amount of damage he puts out is pretty much just as much as he would be doing in Chaos. It's actually ridiculous. So I don't think we'll have to worry too much on the damage stakes. So we've got WoL here to prevent us from taking any kind of substantial damage, so we should pretty much just be able to wail on the bosses with impunity. We've got Vivi here to carry the DPS, and we've got Noctis to prevent the bosses from pretty much ever taking a turn. Except they will take a turn because this is Luffy, after all, but we're going to be doing a metric fuck ton of damage, and they're probably going to be almost dead by the time they actually get to move. Now, the orb condition for this quest in Lufenia is to use counterattacks, but the interesting thing about it is the Noctis's burst follow-up attack actually is considered to be a counterattack for the purposes of increasing the orb, which is really strange, but definitely not something I'm going to argue with because it's going to help us. We might end up still eating the orb attack anyway, but I've got my Warrior of Light, I've got him some Eye Brave artifacts, so he's probably going to have strong enough shields to withstand the orb attacks, so even if we do get dunked on, we're probably going to be fine. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting team because Noctis does provide a max bravery aura, but he doesn't provide any attack auras, but Vivi hits so goddamn hard that he kind of doesn't really need them. I'll just go through my artifacts quickly. I've got, you can pretty much assume that most of my artifacts are going to be perfect or nearly perfect from this point forwards because the Moogle Pass and the artifact system rework is so goddamn good that it just makes it like exponentially easier to farm for characters. So I've got, you know, triple perfect cursts on Vivi. I would not have this if we didn't have the artifact system rework, or I would only have got it by like sacrificing an entire fucking afternoon or something stupid to farming. So this is absolute amazing quality of life. I'm completely here for it. I no longer fear picking up cursed characters. So that's excellent. So I'm not going into this with 8. Because I didn't pull for him. I didn't get his LD on the free pull, and I have not determined whether or not I actually want to chase his LD weapon or not yet. So for the time being, I'm just going to be doing it without him. Like, I do low-key really want to pick up 8, but I also know that I don't need him. If I do pick him up, I'm probably going to be picking up the high armor for him as well, like the Luffy armor. And yeah, like I can do without spending the tokens. To be honest, I really don't need 8. I would just simply be picking him up like purely and simply because I like him. So I've not made my mind up on that yet, but he is pretty cool, and you can do some really interesting setups with him. Like I would want to use him with Saz, for example, as he is right now, because Saz would increase his bravery damage, and it would also extend his buffs as well, even though he doesn't need that as much with his LD. You know, it seems like it would be pretty cool. But on the other hand, those are tokens that may well be better spent towards other characters. So yeah, I've really not made my mind up yet. Let's just continue on with our burst rotation here in the background. I'm not really talking about it because it should be obvious what to do at this point. I'm dumping all the damage onto A because I don't want to take the launch on B, but I'm gonna proc the burst attack on B because we want to make sure the launch is set up. I'm gonna try and take the launch with WoL if at all possible, but I might not be able to because I've got my Vivi over here, and he's probably gonna have to target B to stay in front of it with the yeah, you know what I mean. So if I don't target B here, I'm not gonna move in front of it. So I'm gonna have to do this. I will use Meteor first. we go. So the crappy thing about WoL is that like when he has his character boards, his Will of Light buff is missing 20% of its auras when you start out with it in the quest start. And we have like double Noctis turn here, which is not good, so I'm gonna have to throw Buckler. So you see how everyone's max bravery jumped up, so the aura got a little bit stronger there. So we're just gonna rotate straight again into another steel pirouette. We're gonna do the full rotation. We're gonna milk Noctis dry for all he's worth, and then we use bitter end, and they jump up again. So you kind of have to use two skills with WoL in order to get his auras completely fully online, which is not ideal, but you know, what can you do, right? So yeah, I'm really considering pulling for 8, but another part of the reason that I don't need him is because Gladio is coming out later this month, right? And I absolutely intend to chase Gladio with the Fury of 1,000 Suns. But you don't really want 8 and Gladio in the same team because they're both pretty much dependent on getting hit so that they can counterattack. Well, I mean, 8 is dependent on not getting hit, he dodges everything, you know what I mean? But they're both counter characters is what I mean. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. So one thing I do like about running WoL and Noctis together is that you can do stuff like this Shining Shield. It's a huge battery, so the burst follow-up attack is gonna love you for it. Okay, so see, Vivi has a turn of Warp Step left, so even though I've got, like, Noctis has also got one turn of Warp Step left, so what I'm probably going to do here is I'm actually just probably going to do a regular Warp Strike, and then with Vivi over here, let's do a double fire. Like this. Of course, now we have WoL, who needs to get turn rate, and he's not going to get turn rate, which is a bit wank, and I clearly did not think about that at the time. So yeah, I've put us in a position here where we're a little bit, we're not screwed, but we're going to need to be careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my plus skills to move through the enemy's turns, to like slide in between them, and then when we've got more favourable turn order, that is when I will pop my LDs. Okay, yeah, so here we are. So what I'm going to do is I am going to focus on A over here. And now I can pop my... You know what? I'll shoot in star on B over here, and then I'll pop my LD on A over there. So you can see the Luffy orb counter is getting smaller and smaller. So we're probably going to be taking an attack pretty soon. But WoL's shields should prevent us from dying, because he's cool like that. So that's going to go down to 1, and then we're going to take a turn, so that's going to go down to 2, and that's going to go down to 0, so this one's going to pop, which is not ideal, really. Any stretch of the imagination. Okay, they both pop. No, that one popped, and we get to do a Shining Shield on A to refresh the shields, and then A's gonna pop. So we're actually completely safe. We're completely fine. So let's see. So here, even though I can use Conjure Omega, I'm not going to, because I need to break A. There we go. Completely fine. Nothing to worry about. Just bring down the Meteor. So it does actually cleanse the debuffs when they actually pop their Luffy orb. But we've got Vivi there to kind of put everything back up. He can either use his LD or his EX, so it's really not a big deal. Okay, the orb's back. So yeah, whatever. Steel pirouette, bitch. So this is Lufenia, and Noctis is just absolutely spanking the shit out of this difficulty right now. It's kind of hilarious to watch, to be honest. And then we've got Vivi here, just dropping the Doomsdays. Like, it doesn't even matter that he's killing his team in the process, because wall shields are in synergy and they're so goddamn strong that you're just never really going to take any sort of damage. Okay, so this is how we are. I'm gonna refresh my buffs with Walls Through Buckler. Yep, we can in fact conjure Omega this time around. So yeah, this Luffy is pretty much neutralized before it began. Really, there's really not too much of a problem with this one. Okay, so yeah, A is gonna get broken for sure. So I'm just gonna throw my fire over here. And then we swap round back to A. I could use Bitter End, I could, but I'm gonna save it. Let's refresh everyone's shields again. I can do whatever I want at this point. Yeah, we have 3 skills, and I really honestly should use this. In fact, you know what? I'm going to use this. It's going to consume a turn because when I use my LD, but yeah, who cares, right? Oh right, yeah, that's a good point. We're out of LDs, so I could bring in my friend Noctis at this point. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna milk my 3 turns, and then I'm going to go into summon, and then I'm going to bring in like the friend after the summon, maybe something like that. That sounds sensible. Let's do a double fire. I should have really used the fire enchant there, but just keeping track, right? Okay, yes, very threatening, very dangerous. Can I get turn rate, please? No, I guess not. Never mind. Oh, Noctis took some damage. Hello there. Okay, well, let's just go into the summon, shall we? And I think I will swap out my Noctis here. So let's pop the EX on the first turn so we get to max Omega stats, and so we don't waste any LD users. Oh, and Vivi has his EX again, so that's mighty convenient. We can just get the Imperil straight back up. You know what? I'm actually going to use Warp Strike just to get the attack buff up with Noctis. I was worried about that. I wondered if we would kick Noctis out of the summon. That was why I didn't want to use an LD during the summon, right? But never mind. Let's just do this. Let's just kick him out. Look at all that glorious damage Vivi is doing. Okay, we definitely need to get our LD shields back up. There we go. Let's use our LD on B over here. Oh, whoops! That was a little bit of a mistake, wasn't it? So I kind of broke out of sequence there. Well, we're gonna have to use our burst on A in that case. It was definitely a mistake. Oh, 90,000 bravery. How terrifying. Let's just put you back there. Excellent, and we should... Yeah, let's just use Doomsday. So I kind of wasted our friend, I kind of wasted the friend Noctis a little bit there. But who's keeping track? You know what? Let's do this. Definitely could have been more efficient with the friend Noctis, but it's all good. It's fine. We've still got some free turns left on our own. Do we have any? No, we don't. Let's rotate round over to B, and this game should be pretty much over very, very soon. Let's pop the firing chance for the free destruction. And oh, we're out of firing chance. Let's just pop a meteor. Hey, 9 turns for Final Fantasy IX, because Vivi is totally the star of the show. Okay, there we go. That is 8 Lufenia, completely destroyed. So I am very, very positively surprised with Vivi's damage output. So I think he's definitely going to be a very strong contender, at least in early Lufenia. And yeah, that's going to be my clear for 8 LC. So I'm still sort of making my mind up as to whether or not I want to go for 8 LD, because I know it's not really needed. But he is someone I had my eye on because he looks pretty fun to use. Especially like with things like boss rushes and future content and stuff where you can avoid attacks, he just seems like really good. But at the same time, I would like to get Kurosame with tickets, and he's definitely more important, like in terms of my priorities. So I guess we'll have to see what I feel like. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and until the next video, take care and goodbye.